So now follow it, nice. That's great. Lift, no, stay high, that was good. Yeah. Oh, set, go high. Oh my God. This is Luke. And like me, Luke grew up in the land of 10,000 lakes, otherwise known as Minnesota. Like many Minnesotans, Luke grew up ice fishing or traditionally fishing the unlimited water Minnesota has to offer. But today, Luke is trading in his spinning rod for his very first time on a fly rod. Can Luke adapt to a totally new form of fishing? Will he even be able to cast? In today's video, we find out what happens when you take a complete beginner fly fishing. Alrighty, so I am here with Luke, and before we are even going to have Luke try and cast this rod, we're going to go into some of the differences between that traditional fishing that Luke is usually used to and what we're going to get into today with this beautiful fly rod here. Okay, so for starters, take that rod right there. Now feel that line. Now that line feels very different to a traditional line, correct?
Yes.
One of the biggest differences from fly fishing and traditional fishing is how you're casting. Obviously, when you're casting this, you're using the weight of the actual bait, whether it's a jig head like this, or if it's a topwater frog, or if it's a bobber with a hook on beneath it. You're using the weight of the actual bait to cast. Where in fly fishing, you can see that this line is a lot thicker, and the line is the weight that you are actually propelling through the air. It's not the bait itself, because as you can see, just from looking at those tiny little flies right there, they're tiny. There's not enough weight just from that. Yeah. If you tried to cast those on this, it would go nowhere.
Right.
Big distinction number one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so another thing, when you're casting a traditional rod, you cast once, right?
Yeah.
You use that weight from the bait and you propel it with one cast. You wind up and then you throw it forward. With a spinning rod, you hold it with your finger and you let it go when it's ready to go.
Right.
With a fly rod, you're not just going to be casting one time. You're going to be casting multiple times, letting some of that line through your finger to be able to have a longer cast, and then placing the line on the water. It's not just one cast per cast, if that makes sense.
Right.
So one cast is actually more like 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9 or 10 casts.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, then obviously I think one of the biggest differences is this rod is a lot longer. This is a 9-foot rod.
Yeah.
This is a 6-foot rod. And the reason we're able to even cast a fly rod is because they're longer. You're able to build up that energy. While we're casting today, you're gonna hear me say a lot of things like let the energy build, let the rod load. And the only reason that's possible with the fly rod is because of the length. How do you feel so far?
Feel good.
So this last point that I'm gonna talk about here is something that's a little bit harder to comprehend until you're actually fighting a fish. But if you could see, do me a favor and pull on that main line. Pull it out like a fish would be pulling.
This?
Yep, pull it out. You see how easy it is to pull that out? And you see how the actual reel is moving as well. So pull it a little bit more. See how the reel is also moving?
Yes.
With a traditional rig, if you're fighting a fish, you can reel even when that drag is working, right?
Yeah.
With a fly rod, you have to physically fight the fish, and you aren't even able to reel when the drag is being used. So there is a drag, and you can tighten the drag on a fly rod, but it's very different because you're not able to constantly fight a fish. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know that's difficult, but that's something that you're really gonna be able to feel out when you have a fish on.
Okay.
And hopefully we get there today. That's the goal.
Let's hope so.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel?
Feel all right?
All right, we're gonna hit the water. We're here on a beautiful stretch of river. It is, ooh, there's a crane. It is the height of the summer, so we're out here a little bit earlier. We're gonna try to get on some fish today. First time fly fishing ever. Never touched a rod before until about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, never in my life.
How do it feel?
Feels different, but I'm excited to try it.
All right, awesome, let's get it. So a lot of fly fishing is reading water, even knowing where the fish are. If your goal is to catch fish, you gotta know where the fish are to be able to catch the fish.
Yep.
That is not something that happens overnight. That's something that comes with a lot of practice and a lot of fishing and understanding how the fish behave and act and everything. So for starters, we're just gonna try to get you to be able to cast, okay? So what we're fishing right now is we have a hopper. It's a grasshopper. And then we got a little tiny midge on here. I call this one the mega midge. It's just a little midge. If you look closely, you can see there's tiny little bugs kind of flying on the surface everywhere. Those are midges. So midges pretty much exist everywhere. And like I said, it's all about loading and it's all about finding your tempo. So personally, I have a very fast tempo when I cast. So all we're gonna be doing here, you do not have to use as much line as I just did. We're gonna be casting, going right over this edge there. And you see how you see that bug, right?
Yeah.
So all we're gonna be doing is watching that bug And because we have a dropper off the back of that, we're fishing in 2 different water columns. So obviously the hopper floats, we can watch it, right?
Right.
This bug does not float, it actually sinks. So we're fishing underwater and also on top of the water at the same time, which is why I love hopper dropper. Okay. So all of this loading and really letting the rod do the work, it's all gonna come kind of from back in here on the cork is where you're gonna feel it. So when you cast, we don't have to have you cast very far. Like all you have to do is put it down on the water like this. And then it's all about line control and making sure that your bug looks as natural as possible. Back here you should not be way back here because then you're smacking the water, which you don't want.
Okay.
You should just be high and it's all hinging at the elbow. And then that final cast, you can give it a little like flicking paint off your finger. Just a little. So right here, I'm pinched, right? Nothing's happening. I could sit here all day long and cast this exact tempo, right?
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. But once you want to start letting line out, all you have to do is kind of loosen it and just kind of let it run through your fingers. Don't do this because then you're going to lose it. Yeah. That's fine. That happens. You're not going to be perfect. Sometimes the line comes out of your hand and that's totally fine. All you got to do is just try your best to let it flow through your hands just like this. So watch my hands. So when you're coming back, you can keep it, but you can kind of do this. See? There.
Yeah.
Pinch it when you come back, let it go out when you're going forward. Did you see that?
Yeah, bro. What are you supposed to just set the hook or what?
Okay, yeah. So setting on a fly rod is so different.
This
is good to get into early.
Yeah.
So with a bait caster even, right? You're fishing for bass, right?
Right.
You take that step back and you chuck it, right?
Yeah.
If you do that, you're gonna break the rod, you're gonna break the line, it's all gonna be really bad.
Okay.
So don't do that. All that the hook set is with a fly rod is if we're drifting. Say a fish comes up and clobbers the hopper or the hopper shoots upriver. All you do is firm with that left hand and lift. That's all it is. It's just a lift. Now you feel how when you're coming forward, it's pulling here?
Yeah.
That's how you just loosen it just a little, let that line go out, and that's how you make a little bit longer cast. Nice. Okay. So now follow it, nice. That's great. Lift, no, stay high, that was good. Yeah. Oh, set, go high. Oh my God. Okay, so let him run.
Yeah.
Keep the high stick, now fight it normal. Let go of this line. Now fight it normal. There you go.
Just reel it in.
Yep, but if he runs, he's gonna want to run.
Let him run?
Okay? Yep, but you can keep that tension tight and keep the stick high, okay? And so if he runs, let it go. Yep, let him go. Very good. And I think the drag's good. But yeah, keep him high. Keep that stick as high as you can, as straight up in the sky as you can. There's no way, dude. Yep, let him run. Yep, it's a nice fish too. Yep, right here is gonna be great to try to get him in. Yep, when he's giving you that, when he's going less, you can reel. Yep, you can give it to him hard, reel that sucker. But if he's going, hold it. Great hook set too, you didn't go too hard. Yeah, if he's running, let him go. Beautiful. First spot, dude.
Beginner's luck.
Let's go. No way, dude.
That's so sick, bro.
Something about these trout is they have like a protective slime on them.
Okay.
So before you pick them up, you always want to get your hands wet. That way it kind of matches their slime so that slime doesn't just get stuck to your hands.
Let's pick them up on the back.
So the best way to hold trout, I think, is to kind of get them right here. There's no spikes or anything.
Okay.
Just hold them right there just like that. Look at that, guys. Stay low. Beautiful. Look at that. First fish.
5 minutes in.
That's it. You might kick away right away. You might, yep, there you go.
All right, dude. No way. Let's go.
No way, dude.
Bro.
No way. Whether it was beginner's luck or pure skill, we made it happen. But unfortunately, that was our only fish of the day. But since we are on the topic of learning fly fishing, here are some tips on how to read the water. Okay, so Luke's currently behind the camera. And I'm taking a couple casts here in some water that I know would be pretty difficult for him to get to. But one of the things that I was talking about earlier is being able to read water. It's definitely something that comes with time, like I said earlier. But what we're doing over here is we've got this bubble line right on the other side, actually the complete other side of the river here. And that's coming from all of this turbulent water up top. And all we're trying to do is get one good drift through that bubble line. And if we're able to do that, I would not be surprised if we're able to get on a fish here. It's just a matter of really getting that cast in the right spot. Right there is pretty good. That is where a lot of these fish hold. And luckily, rivers create bubbles for us, so we know that there's a nice little current seam there. So we're just going off that current. There's gonna be a lot of bugs in that current, and obviously these fish are eating bugs. So what we're trying to do right here, right now. With no success of yet. The term foam is home is synonymous with fly fishing. And all that term means is that where there is foam or bubbles on the river, there is generally bugs collecting due to the current of the river. Now, I understand that fly fishing can be challenging for beginners and veterans alike, but I hope there are things you can learn from in this video. Number 1, you can start from any skill level and be successful at fly fishing. Number 2, a giant part in fly fishing is reading water, and reading water is understanding the current. Sometimes sitting and watching the river before you cast and getting more knowledge about the current is the best way forward. Hey guys, Brody here. A little bit of an off-the-cuff audio coming in at the end. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Had a really good time getting Luke out on the water for his first time fly fishing ever. Was really impressed with all the knowledge that he was able to absorb and apply in a really short amount of time. I know that this sort of video is a little different for my channel and what you guys are used to seeing from me, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you guys are new to FSBRODY, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot of fishing content coming your way, and it's been an absolute blast this year. I'm closing in on 5,000 subscribers, which is a pretty big milestone in my opinion. So like I said, guys, consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video, comment if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one on the water. Later.